Alright guys, third video, how to heal the emotional, mental space. How to take these bad data files of your life experience, process them, release them. Alright, now in my last video, I was giving an example that abusive, emotional, physical, if you have had to go through those, that sometimes you need an outside validation before you can even recognize what you're actually experiencing. So if you do need that and you don't have a friend present who can validate this for you, that is where, seeking actual outside help can be really helpful. If you find somebody you feel like you can trust them to express these feelings to. They don't know how to do the energy healing most of the time because, again, we're just kind of learning about this side of ourselves. This is where the spiritual side that we're starting to now socially accept, because history has not been very kind to people who, were into alternative spiritualities. Had to be the one spirituality or bad stuff, right? But we are going to take that spirituality or all of those spiritualities and we're going to talk about how we can use those figures as a way to heal as well. So, quantum physics. I don't know, I just did derpy face, but whew, I hope you feel better however you are experiencing your reality right now. So, let's use one example for this process. So, let's take an army veteran. Somebody who has had to enlist so they could pay the bills, feed their family. This is often a really difficult, painful experience for a lot of souls. That they have enlisted with the idea of defending their people, but often, historically, have been used as tools of war. That the soul that was used later ends up tormented, which is why we often see PTSD, because the soul is everyone. If you do physical harm against someone else, that's why you go to hell. It's an emotional place. You living in regret, you feeling and living that alternate perspective of watching yourself go through this. And, it doesn't just have to be that example. This is relative to an infinite design of potential horrible experiences. But we're going to focus on this military example because of how common this is and how high suicide rates have been in that walk of life. So, what we do on an individual level is we go inside ourselves, in our minds, in our hearts, and we take these thoughts that pop into our head, these memories that make us go, oh my God, and just it hurts or fills us with anger and rage. And we look right at it with our third eye. Because that's what you're doing. If you're envisioning it here, that is where your third eye is. That inner vision is an eye, the internal vision. The dream state is a very similar use of that portal of thought. So, for anybody who has gone through horrible memories, horrible experiences, let's use Bradley, now Chelsea Manning, had to be given orders to fire on innocent people who were actually photographers, trusted without a doubt superiors and the ambitions of the nation. Did what they were told, scarred with absolute regret and feelings of betrayal, feelings about being a puppet, being misled, feelings like being the very thing they signed up to fight. The pain you feel, every layer of it. You have to go through them one by one. You have to replay it. You have to feel it. You have to acknowledge the way I feel is valid. Why do I feel this way? These thoughts will bring more answers. You will see the chain of thought, the factors, the innocent childhood memories that led you to making these choices, to trusting these things, feelings of betrayal or being misled there. All of this is like a giant web in your mind. And what you're doing is cleaning out the cobwebs. Because all of these feelings inside of you are a real body of experience. And by having to bury them, you are suffering. And you will never stop suffering until you look at them and heal them out. Now, we were talking earlier about religion and how in history that, metaphysics and all this new age crystals and all that was not at all acceptable. So, on that level, we're going to talk about Jesus and how he is a alchemy stone. Now, by doing what he did, showed us how to do the right thing, even facing death, and that he became the one who could wash away our burdens and our sins. Because for a lot of us, we don't believe that forgiveness is possible. We can't forgive ourselves. So we needed a physical vessel. We needed it, and the universe provided that through this individual who is a reflection of God, who did this act to allow this transformation. Now, a lot of people have turned them into a reason for war, where if you read their words, they were very anti-corruption, very peace and loving and forgiveness. This is because he's giving us the opportunity to transform our hearts and our minds through his ability to love even while being tortured. So for a lot of you who cannot touch base with the metaphysics and all that, every religion has its own form of reconciliation with the self, usually. You, as an individual, have such a unique journey. And again, I said this in the first video, it often feels like you're alone. But who has been with you your entire life? You have. You're always with yourself. You pretend like no one else is around. But really, when you're alone, you're left with you. And that's why a lot of us run away from us, because we can't stand ourselves alone. We have to be entertained constantly. We need to distract our minds. This is why we have a world of suffering, because if we can't clean out the things that cause us to hurt others, how are we ever going to have peace? Inside, out. So, in whatever space, if you need to be out in the wilderness, surround yourself with the things that make you feel hope-filled, happy, where you want to direct your future. Your past is behind you. The only thing that's still hurting are these parts that you are dragging along that you have the opportunity to let go of. Every single one of us has the opportunity to wake up to a brand new life. And other people, yeah, they might bring up our past. But if we made peace with it, then what power do they have? If we've apologized for the pains that we have caused to the best of our ability, then we have fully healed those wounds, not just in ourselves, but in other people. Alright, on to the next video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you are feeling so much better.